What's going on, everybody? It's Thursday night, 11:49 p.m. Eastern Time. The sixth installment in the Scream franchise is officially out. What did you think? Let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. This is going to be an interesting one because I can tell you right now, it's going to start off with Mike and I, and then we're going to bring Matt on. And I don't know if Mike and Matt have talked at all, but I can tell you that I have not talked to either one of them about how they feel about this movie. So I'm very curious to get an idea how they feel. Did you go and see the movie? Did you enjoy it? Let us know. Would love to hear your thoughts. First up, he's the man behind the Take One podcast, Mr. Mike Bish. What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? Listen, I got to pat myself on the back here because I was ready to go right around 11:30, right? Pretty much. But the reason I want to pat myself on the back is because, man, I timed that out perfectly. I told you 11:30, and I was just like in my head. I'm sitting there today rushing through. I'm like, okay, how long do previews usually go? How long is it going to take me to go from the movie theater that's 40 minutes away, drop my sister off, and get back to my house in time? Man, I'm good. I am good with time.
I feel like this is a passive aggressive way of saying, Shawn, you suck with time, which is true. I do.
Oh no, seriously. Usually I do. That's why I'm excited about this.
I'm excited to hear what you thought. I'm excited to hear what Matt thought. Wherever Dean Renner is right now, I'm actually kind of curious what he thinks of the movie. So why don't we start with this, man? General impressions of the movie.
Man. I want to preface this off for anybody that doesn't know my opinion of Scream 5. I watched it last night in anticipation to go see this movie. I was not a fan of it when I first saw it. I've seen it maybe twice since then, and I am still not a fan of Scream 5. Shawn, I walked out of Scream 6 absolutely loving this movie. Absolutely loving this movie, and I cannot stop smiling about it. I'm just so happy for many reasons. And I have to say, just like the theater reaction was perfect. I don't know. I was just in such a good group. Everybody loved it. Again, this is the second movie in a row where people clapped at the end. I was like, really? Really? And I was just, man, it has its problems, and we'll jump into that. But, man, I really walked away really liking this movie, and I'm happy about that because I went into this movie expecting to be very disappointed, if I'm being honest. And I'm glad that I am wrong. What about you?
I'll dive into like the nitty gritty later because I definitely have some stuff to nitpick. But I was a little worried about some of the stuff we were hearing going in because it sounded too positive. And I'm like, okay, so take it with a heavy grain of salt. And I walked out of that movie theater going, that was a fantastic Scream movie. There are things I thought they could have done better, but at the end of the day, where the movie starts, like for me, the movie starts with a bang. Like right out of the gate, okay, things are different in this one. And there's so many ways we can dive into that, and we will. But no, I left it. I don't know if I'm not totally in love with the movie, but I thought it was really fucking good, worth the price of admission. I definitely liked it better than 5, 4, and 3. I don't know where it ranks with 1 and 2. That's going to take time, but really good, man. Like very few complaints, and I would hope that even some of the Scream naysayers, and at times I've been one of them, give this movie its due because it does a lot of things really, really well.
No, I agree. And again, I have some stuff that I wish were left out, some decisions I wish would have been made. But again, man, I can't tell you the last time I saw a perfect movie. So not every movie is going to be perfect. For me, there's 1 and 2 is going to hold a holy grail. Now, does this beat 3? I love 3 a lot more than most people. I need some time to sit with that. May go see it again this weekend just to kind of get my general thoughts together, But listen, man, I'm happy, and I can't express how good that makes me feel because for me personally, I haven't felt that way the past two Scream movies. So for me to be able to walk out of this experience, being able to see Ghostface on the big screen, and I cannot wait to dive into Ghostface. Um, it was good to walk out of there happy. You muted my guy.
It's awesome to go into a movie and leave it knowing you're satisfied with the money you spent because God knows it's not cheap anymore. Um, I was happy, man. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to dive into it more. We're gonna be bringing Matt on here in a few, but you kind of said it right there. Let's dive into that first. Ghostface. Now we had heard and we've talked about over the last month or so how Ghostface was supposed to be a lot different in this movie. Um, Now I might be forgetting a frame, but I can't think of one time where Ghostface trips headfirst over a couch or a chair or does something stupid where you think the guy, whoever is Ghostface at that time, isn't capable of, murdering people. And I found this Ghostface to be an intimidating presence on screen.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it lived up to the hype of being different, being darker, the kills being a lot gorier, not even only with Ghostface. Just the kills in general were really, really good, in my opinion. And we saw some different ones. It wasn't just stab, 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 although at points, man, some people got stabbed at least 95 times. It had to be. But it was a lot more aggressive. But Sean, I think what really sticks out to me and what I really love most about this movie and most about this Ghostface is the amount of time that we spend with Ghostface. Like when we, for example, really in every scene, but like especially that the bodega scene, you know, that was very intense. And I feel like in a lot of Scream movies, we don't get to spend unless it's like towards the end, we don't get to spend a lot of time with Ghostface on screen. And I felt like the scenes that he did pop up in, we spent a lot of time with him on screen, whether that was a chase scene or an intimidation scene. You know, no matter what it wasn't a real quick and done, except for maybe the opening. But you know, that's a whole different story in itself, which I love the opening. But like, man, I think that's my favorite part is being able to spend time within Ghostface and not just him pop up and go away.
Yeah, no, thought that was incredibly positive. I've been going on for a long time. Give us like a formidable ghost face who doesn't fucking trip over everything that you actually are scared of. Like the convenience store scene that we see in the
Oh man.
is even better in the movie.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's what I wanted to point out. The scenes of Ghostface in the trailer were even better in the theater, which you don't always get that. You rarely get that. Usually it is what it is. It's usually better and they hype it up in the trailer. And I feel like that, especially that bodega scene, man, it was just so intense, so good. That Gale chase scene was really, really good. I love how like he was right on her ass, and to your point, he's not tripping over everything, so there's not a lot of gap space in between that. Yeah, man, like they did a really good job with Ghostface, and man, I'm glad we got this Ghostface.
Me too. And it just so everybody knows, if you tune into the Overlook Drive-In regularly, we're not doing like our scores for Scream 6 tonight. I definitely need some time to sit on all that. Um, but dude, like at the end of the day, and I'm sure people say that I'm just hating or whatever. It's not even comparable how much more satisfied I was leaving Scream 6 than I was leaving Halloween Ends.
It's
I
fu-
think Scream 6 is just a far better made movie.
it's funny you say that because I went and saw the Scream 6 with my sister, and I went and saw Halloween Ends with my sister, and we were obviously talking about it on the car ride home. Um, and she brought that up. She was like, "This movie is 10 times better than Halloween Ends." You know, she was disappointed in Halloween Ends as well. And what's funny about that is I already know if like I go to the movies with her a lot. I know if she likes a movie or not because we won't mention the movie to each other until we're like in the parking lot if we don't like it. As soon as the credits started to roll, she looked over and said, "Absolutely love that movie."
Yeah, I like I'm grinning over here because it's like, yeah,
Kind of shocked. For me. I'm.
this movie kicked ass, and I'm going to throw Matt under the bus here when I bring him in because I'm going to ask a really tough question to both of you. And it's probably an unfair question too, if I'm being honest. But without further ado, fellow member of the channel, he hasn't been on in a while. The three of us haven't been together in a long time. It's Mr. Matt Whitfield. What's going on, dude?
I did not fall asleep at any point during Scream. I stayed awake the whole movie.
My guy.
What do you think?
How y'all gentlemen doing tonight?
Dude?
What's up, man?
Do what?
General impressions, man. What do you think?
For the most part, I really, really liked it. There were some parts that didn't make sense to me because it was just some storyline stuff, but Ghostface was on point. That convenience store scene, like you said, I was going to bring that up if y'all didn't. That it just felt so much darker and grittier when they're in there versus it's just like the couple of glimpses you get in the in the trailer. But I really did like it. Yeah, other than some few minor plot things that I don't completely agree with. I was very much impressed with it. I really liked it, and yes, it was better than Halloween Ends, and yes, it was better than 4 and 5, in my opinion.
So, go ahead. Are you going to read the comment, or you want?
You can go ahead, man.
So my man Kevin, appreciate you tuning in, man. He said, my biggest issue with Radio Silence's continuation of the Scream franchise will always be the dialogue. There is still an oversaturation of unnecessary meta-ness during crucial and brutal scenes. Like, I totally get that, and I understand that. There were points that that happened where there was one scene where Ghostface says something right before he slashes somebody. There was no point in that. I thought it was kind of corny. But I have to be honest, like, overall dialogue, I thought they did a lot better. My biggest problem with Scream 5, outside of Jenna Ortega, who is barely on screen in Scream 5, in my opinion, I think the characters suck. I mean, just being, in my opinion, I don't connect with them at all. I had a big problem with the final girl, Melissa Barrero, I believe is her name, and Sam Carpenter in the movie. Like, I just did not connect with her. And outside of maybe a couple of things in this movie, I thought she, for me personally, flipped it around. Like, I don't know if it was because she was in a much darker place, but like everything in Scream 5 that came out of her mouth just felt fake to me, and it didn't in this movie. I thought the overall dialogue was better, but I do have to agree with Kevin in the sense of there are times in those dark, moments right before, brutal kill scenes that, some corny dialogue is thrown out there. And like I said, this isn't a perfect movie. There's a few good things that I wish they would have done and took differently. But I think overall dialogue wise, I liked it a lot better than 5. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shit on 5, I promise, but
this is a much better movie. I mean, I don't mind 5, but this is a much better movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
One of the dialogue things that stood out for me though was right before the opening credits. I actually liked it, where he's just like, "Fuck the movies. This is not why I'm doing this. Who gives a shit about the movies? You're dead." And I thought that was a nice tone setter. It set the tone for the rest of the movie. There's a pretty big thing that happens in this movie that I don't know if people caught, and I think it's foreshadowing, and we'll dive into that in a bit. I hope people paid close attention to the dialogue because I do believe they're going there. I think at times you're given a more serious Ghostface who's not a clumsy fuck, who is violently killing people. They need to tone down the meta-ness a bit. I know it's Scream. I know it's a Scream trope. Let's tone it down a bit. I thought that if we've been very positive, if we can just throw in a couple of negatives here. And David Rain says the kills were hardcore savage hard, like Michael and Jason level. And Michael and Jason, spoiler alert, both make appearances in this movie. I thought they did a really, really good job.
That was so cool.
Jason takes Manhattan in the background.
The subway scene, though, I seen Pinhead, Michael,
I saw.
Freddy.
I swear to God, I thought I saw 2 Michael Myers. Like I thought I saw an
There is.
OG Myers mask, and then it's either an 18 one or a Rob Zombie. I couldn't tell because it was so quick.
There's an OG one for sure on the subway. There's an OG one walking down the stairs of the subway, but I think there was a second Michael Myers mask in the subway.
Yeah,
That's further in the background.
yeah.
So cool little Easter eggs. I like that they did that. I think that's cool.
Easter eggs that work though.
Yeah,
because some stuff feels could feel a little corny. I will say, like, with these Scream movies, in every movie there's a point where there's some comedy in it. No matter whether it's the first one, the second one, the third, they throw comedy in there. And I will say that at least when I think about it, I have to see it when I watch it a second time. I didn't think anything was like too corny or out of line. Now, when I go see it the second time, there might be something that stands out to me. But again, like my theater, like everybody just reacted in a positive way. Like no lie, and I'm not trying to shit on this movie because we're not talking about it. But Halloween Ends, like there were people like smacking their lips in the movies and like literally just speaking out loud just how disappointed they were at some stuff and how corny stuff was. So I don't know. I just I thought it worked really well, and I don't know what it's sitting on Rotten Tomatoes now, but it was tied with the original Scream for the highest Rotten Tomatoes score. So we'll see where that ends up.
The reviews have been overwhelmingly positive,
which had me nervous because that was the same thing for 5, and I didn't like 5, so I was like, we're fucking here we go, repeating.
Andromeda says, very exciting and fun movie. Love the ladder scene. So I'm not very good with heights. I don't mind them as much now as when I was a kid. I was just petrified. And that scene, definitely had me, a little tense in my chair. And then obviously was it Annika that dies there? My God. You talk about getting it bad. The fall was one thing, but hitting the dumpster, holy crap.
Yeah, so that was kind of something I really wanted to see too. Like, honestly, Ghostface is going to have his classic knife kills, and we get plenty of that in this movie. But was he going to do anything that's different? We got the shotgun kill, which we obviously knew about. The ladder kill, which we obviously knew about, which was a good one because he was antagonizing that woman. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just thought that I pretty much got everything I wanted except for the ending, and then, we'll talk about that. But yeah, I can't be too picky when I say what I want and I get it. I can't be too picky,
We can dive into this a little bit more in a bit, but I just got to ask you guys, not just you guys, but the audience watching right now, or if you're watching after the fact, simple question. Did you miss Sidney Prescott in this movie?
No.
I did not. No.
What did you say?
Did you?
Oh, okay. At first, I thought you were talking about like she made like some type of background cameo appearance. I was like, hold on, what?
No. Sorry.
It's going over my head.
Maybe you just said, does this movie work without Sidney Prescott? My answer is yes, definitely.
Yeah. I think it does too. And
Probably
also
better.
I want to go back to the writing and the dialogue and me thinking that it's a lot better. I thought that I've always liked Gail a lot more than a lot of people, and I hated her character in 5. She is in her bag, and she goes back to classic Gail Weathers in this movie, with the smart mouthness, the yeah, and then goes back to writing her book. Like, this is classic Gail Weathers, and I don't know. I love that. Now, me personally, I thought they should have killed her off. That's a problem I have with the movie, but I will say that
about that, there is a different ending where they do not revive her.
Okay.
They chose to add in the line where it's
the weak pulse.
I thought it was a cop out. Honestly, I didn't. Need for that. I thought the ending was fitting. I thought perfect, awesome, and like they've referenced The Last Jedi in 2 movies now. And the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And in those movies, they kill off a legacy character in each movie. And there's 3 legacy characters heading into the trilogy. So I kind of thought Okay, so we get Dewey in 5, Gale in 6, and maybe you get Sydney back for 7. But they didn't go that route. And I honestly think my biggest complaint with this movie is I have no idea how you bring back 6 characters and none of them die.
Yeah,
You
same.
almost had for me a fucking fantastic, amazing movie that I almost loved, and I gotta take points away for copping out on killing anyone notable, really.
Yeah, I think that's 100% fair. I would have been perfectly happy with one. I knew Jenna Ortega was not going to die. There's no way they're killing her off. But honestly, I would have been happy if Gail and Chad would have died. I hated Chad in the last movie. I fucking hated Chad in the last movie, and for some reason, I don't know if they just like toned down their energy in this movie or what, but there were just so much. There was so much more likable in this movie, and I don't know. I don't know. I got to give credit to the
They
writing.
wrote it better.
Yeah, I don't know if they had more, if they just wrote them better, or they had more people in the writing room, or they listened to people's complaints, or I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Go ahead.
the funny thing was, it's like, how many times did Chad get fucking stabbed? Like it says like they were just taking turns stabbing him like
Yeah.
50 million times, and he makes it out. And you're like, how?
Yeah. So
That was one of my big beefs with it.
So I want to talk about that too. It's another positive. Not Chad, but that scene. I fucking loved seeing 2 ghost faces at one time on the screen. That was so fucking cool to me. Like, I've really, really enjoyed that. Because I don't know if we've had that before. At least in costume.
No, that was awesome. That was
really, really fucking sweet. I'm not going to lie. I thought Kirby was the killer for a long time.
I never did.
I got
yeah.
some thoughts on on Hayden's performance, and they're not positive. So,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just going to be
I don't
blunt.
think she was bad.
I thought she was
Okay.
fucking abysmal in this movie. I thought every piece of dialogue she had in this movie was mailed in, and I'm not even a big 4 fan, and I like her a lot in 4, like a ton.
Me too.
And I'm telling you, go back and watch 4, and then watch this movie right after. Skip 5, watch the performances, and I can almost guarantee you, you're gonna say they're nowhere close to the same level of performance.
Oh,
Maybe it's written, so I'll give her that. But at the end of the day,
I'm not giving her that. And I love Hayden a lot. And I love Kirby and 4 a lot. 4 is a movie that I don't like, and I think she's a very good bright spot in that movie. But when you take 6 years off in Hollywood acting, it's hard to come back and just, roll into a big movie like this. And I know she might not have been a main character in this movie, but she had a lot of lines in this movie. Like, she had a good amount of time.
She had more time than I thought she was going to have in this movie.
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. And you know what? Kudos to them, because I thought she was just going to bring her back and just be like maybe 1 or 2 scenes here and there. But they did try it. That was one of the things that I would complain about. It just didn't work for me. But yeah, that didn't work for me. And then again, it's not as big complaint as 6 or as 5. I didn't like seeing Billy Loomis again. That was a complaint that I had in 5. But I will say it worked a lot better for me because it was all reflection. So it looked a little better. I just wish they would have kept that out. But again, a lot better. It didn't take away from it like it did for me in 5.
I wonder if Skeet shot anything new, or if they repurposed stuff that they did not use for 5. I'm leaning the latter on that one, because if you listen to all this dialogue, none of it is like definitively about the events
Reflection of the time
in this movie, which I kind of thought, is it needed? Maybe not. That's
I guess it all depends on where they're going with it. Again, maybe
I think I know where they're going. I'm curious where you guys think they're going, though.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess we can talk about that here in a minute. But any more negatives? I guess for you guys.
The only thing that it felt like for me that some undertones had a lot of to it. Out of college, they're at a college now. The killer is the family, direct parent to the killer in the last movie.
Yeah,
So
no.
that was the correlation between 6 and 2 that I caught.
Well, I think you're right, and I think Mindy actually mentions that. Um,
Yeah,
when she's going over her rules, so I kind of expected that. But then again, I'll tell you what, I didn't have any idea who the killer was in this one. I think it was a pretty good reveal, and I'm actually kind of mad at myself because I should have saw one person coming.
The cop.
cops are always dirty.
I thought the cop was telegraphed a little too blatantly a couple of times.
Yeah, there was one line he had, and I was like, I looked over I was like, that's fishy. But I think they did a lot. I don't know. I just have to be honest. I didn't know. I didn't know.
So
I don't want to sit here and act like I did.
Well, the only killer that I knew was only because I knew it going into the movie was what's his face there. Was it Danny? Danny's his name in the movie, I think.
The fucking virgin.
Virgin.
Yeah. So I knew he was a killer because I had seen a photo.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know the cop was a killer. But right after Sam says she'll give him the address to the therapist, literally the next scene is the therapist getting killed. And then there's a couple other cues that happen. I'm just like,
that's exactly when I caught it.
And I also question if it was him in the convenience store dressed as Ghostface, because he's not the one that picks them up. He arrives at the station after they're already there. Also, the control of a shotgun, having the experience. I don't know. Just stuff. I liked him, and I liked his performance. I forget what I've seen him in. He's in various different things, obviously.
He's been in movies all over.
He was good. I enjoyed his performance.
Then the only thing, there was a couple of the kills, how the hell, it's like Mindy too. How the hell did she survive the subway? Because he went into her chest and started going up. There was a lot more. It should have been a lot more damage than what we heard, and how his arm movement went up. And I was like, how the hell is she still alive? It's like her and her brother. How the hell are you making out of this movie?
Too much plot armor for those guys, for sure.
Yeah, and I think they were scared. I think the writers were scared to pull the trigger, and but I'll be honest with you, the only person outside of Jenna Ortega I enjoyed in Scream 5, I enjoyed Mindy a lot. So when she got stabbed on the subway and I thought she was gone, that worked for me. Like, it affected me. I was really upset with that, and the fact they didn't go through with it. I'm glad, but I'm not glad. You know what I mean? Like, it's a double-edged sword. I just think in those situations, just pull the trigger. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they've been. I just want to touch on where I think they're going, and I would bet money on this. But before I do, I just got to ask: did you guys get the big hint during the movie?
Probably not until you say it out loud again.
So they talk about Stu, and I know people are going to roll their eyes. Why are we going back to Stu? And I believe, I can't remember.
Yes.
I think it was the daughter killer. I can't remember her name in the movie. Says, well, that's even if he's dead. And they've now been teasing Sam becoming a Ghostface.
That was
movies in a row. And I just can't help it. If you're going to end this portion of the timeline of the big three, if you will, at any point, why not have Stu and Sam, Billy's daughter, be the killer?
I would like that.
Nuts. They already showed a ton of times in this movie. Well, this guy survived 27 stabs in the movie, so why can't Stu survive a TV? Where he's been all this time, who knows? But I would bet money on that's where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But I did catch that. I did, and I can't remember who it is. You might be right. I thought it was Kirby and Mindy talking to each other.
It might
have stage, but I might be wrong on that. But yeah, I did catch that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, again, that's where that is. I thought you were. I don't know, because they keep teasing Sam Carpenter being like a killer, and I guess she is, but you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Maybe it does boil down to that big final showdown, between her and Stu, and maybe you bring Sydney back in that situation
And,
too.
and Stu, and then Sam and her sister. That's the final showdown there. There's tons of stakes, tons of feelings. It's personal.
That'd be really good.
I don't know if you can get them on board. You better be willing to pay them more than you were offering people this time around.
And also, what are you going to do with Gail now? You know what I mean? That's why I think they should have just pulled that trigger.
Open the movie and kill her. And that's how you get Sydney back.
What an opening scene. You know what? I like that a lot. A lot. I think that I could get over Gail surviving this movie if that happens. Because that's a very good opening scene.
Speaking of opening scenes, what did you guys think of the way this movie opened? For me, I can already tell you, it's my favorite opening of any Scream movie.
Yeah, I think you're on drugs on that one. But I will say, my God, dude, when I saw the mask come off, I was like, no fucking way. Like, where is this going? I already know it's already different at this point, right? But while we're on that, one of the things that I wanted to see going into Scream 6 was, I think I mentioned this earlier, but were they going to utilize the city of New York City, or was it just going to be a plot line prop that they just throw in the background here and there? I love how they use the alleyways, obviously the bodega, the subway, that opening scene, totally New York, man. Like, I don't know, I loved it. I think they used New York City effectively. And that opening scene was very, very good.
They did a fantastic job of making Montreal look like New York. So
I know.
No complaints there whatsoever. No, I liked it because the entire opening scene, I was going, no way. Flash from Spider-Man is not the killer. Not a chance. And then the credits didn't come up. I'm like, oh, please tell me this guy's going to get killed by the actual Ghostface. And it happened. So, like, for me, that's where I was hoping it would go. And it went there. And they just did a really, really good job with it. I appreciated what they did.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I want to just go to the chat here and see what a couple of people are saying. Cross Game says, and the motive was simple, but way better than 5, so I'm not complaining. Kevin says, I chuckled when he had the perfect size ladder just chilling next to his window.
True. Maybe, is that a thing? I don't know. I have a friend, Natalie, who lives in New York, I think in an apartment building in New York. Do they keep ladders in their apartments in case of fires? I think that's a thing. But to Kevin's point, the fact that it's just perfect size, like that's funny.
I was so glad they didn't all make it across there. I was like,
yeah.
Don't blow this spot. Make it useful.
Yeah.
Movie Junkie John says the boyfriend was acting very dumb in that scene. He could have called the cops or ran over. Just my take.
Okay, let me say that. That is the one character that I do not like in this movie, which is an improvement from last movie. But I do not like the boyfriend. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he comes across. I just don't like that guy. And I don't know why. It's just something about the dude. I
enjoyed him because I felt like
Samantha's boyfriend, the guy from across the building.
Yeah, I think that's who he meant. I enjoyed him specifically because I thought they used him as a plot device. Hey, here's this character who we're going to try to convince you is probably one of the killers, but guess what? He's not. And I dug it, but he's definitely the quiet, silent type, and came across a little awkward at times, but I appreciated what they tried to do with him. Movie Junkie also said they missed Dewey. Did you guys miss Dewey in this one? Andromeda said the same thing.
That's a good question.
I could have gone. I mean, if you asked me who would I rather have, Gail or Dewey, of course we're going to say Dewey. And I would have loved to see him back too, but I think he could have been more to the story than Gail was.
So I think to Kevin's point here, I think she's been soulless at times before. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's obviously talked about Sam Carpenter in her new book, Called Her Names. Um, she did the same thing with Dewey on multiple occasions, and Sydney's mom and Sydney. So I think Gail is always, I don't want to say soulless. I think that's a little too harsh. Um,
Always been about Gail.
it's always been about Gail, and I think they kind of got away from that in Scream 5, and it did not feel like Gail to me. Um, Gail has always kind of put like her career first, but it's still a good person at heart in a sense. I think they've always kind of floated that line, especially like pretty much in all Scream movies. She starts off kind of soulless, and by the end, she's with all the gang helping out. So I think they kind of got back to what Gail has always been, and I don't like the fact that she replaced Dewey so quickly. That's a story for itself. But my man got what he got.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't know. I just think I think it's always been that type of Gale. To be honest, just I don't know. I know Kevin's coming on to Take One podcast next week, so we can dive more into that. I don't know if he's talking about a certain scene or anything like that. But I guess the one that really sticks out to me is when she reunites with Sam Carpenter, and you find out that she wrote another book that she says she wasn't going to, and then kind of talked about Sam in that book. Honestly, that's just Gail. She did it to quote unquote the love of her life, Dewey. Wrote about him, wrote mean, bad things about him. So it's kind of just Gail, honestly.
Writing's therapy.
Which I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it makes Gail Gail, which I kind of loved her going back to that in this movie.
Andromeda says they did a great job of making everyone look suspicious. I would agree with that. I think that's fair.
And I will
go ahead, Matt.
I will say, if there was only one time in that movie that it kind of felt like Ghostface is clumsy, it was in Gail's apartment.
Oh no! Scene. I'm sorry, I got to disagree with that.
There's different parts of it.
Like what part of that? Because I felt like that was like a mean ghost. Like I felt like Ghostface was always on her ass that entire time. I don't think he didn't miss a drop, really.
I love the reaction to her putting him on hold. That was gold. It's so slight, but it's
it was. It was.
Mm-hmm. That was very.
Was there something that kind of stuck out, Matt? Because I found that interesting. Because I thought that was one of the scenes that stuck out to me, where I felt like Ghostface was different in this movie. Like if that was Ghostface in any other movie, he's tripping over that couch, like easily all day long.
He tripped over a couple things, and then I know he tripped over something when she was outside pushing things. I think it was a plant or something at one time that she did.
I don't know. Maybe he did.
There was a couple of them.
Maybe he did. I didn't honestly.
I don't have to look at double. But that was the only scene where I remember there was it felt like there were some clumsy spots, and that was the only time it happened in the movie for me that I noticed.
Alex hated this movie. I'm sorry to hear that, Alex. Nothing worse than spending your hard-earned money and not being satisfied with what you get. I think about 70% of the Halloween fan base felt the same after Halloween ends. So, what's up, Jesse? How's it going, buddy?
What's up, dude?
Hey, man, I saw your status today about your friend. That's terrible, dude. Definitely, our thoughts are with you and his family. And life sucks sometimes, and people get taken from us far too soon. But just know we're here for you, man. Alex also said Kirby felt like a different character, which I kind of agree with. It comes across that way. Kevin says Gail will always be career driven. Very true, but she's also a loyal and fierce friend. She just seems so detached from her past self. The death of Dewey, already writing a new book, just felt off. Honestly, I would chalk it up to PTSD. When someone loses someone close to them, despite them not being together at that time, it can totally ruin your life and change who you are completely. So now obviously there's definitely parts of Gail that have always been um not nice, and she'll screw over someone to get to where she needs to be. I
I
agree with
mean,
Mike. I thought it was jarring seeing her with someone else, but at the same time, it's like, oh, people do that, after they do lose someone. It's like it added up to me. You, Mike? Anything? You look like you were trying to say something.
no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just think that's always been Gail to be. I don't know.
The
I don't
only
know.
thing is,
Hard to say.
I wasn't the biggest fan of how they brought her in, like doing another, uh, them coming out of the police department
See, I
office and
do.
everything.
See, I do just because that's classic Gail. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, that is classic
and,
Gail, but
and like,
I think I was looking for something different.
And I guess like to Sean's point, I mean, if it is PTSD, you got to go back to what you do best and what you know best, and that's always what Gail had
That
done
I get.
best.
But I think I was expecting maybe something a little bit different.
And let's be honest, Gail doing what she does best and has always done has what got her punched in almost every movie, if not every movie. I can't remember if she gets punched in Scream 4 or not, but I mean, it's just the way.
Yeah, Jenny Ortega punches her.
Yeah, in this movie, but I'm talking about in Scream 4. I don't remember.
I'm just top of my head.
No, I just think it's always been Gail. You know what I mean? She again, that career driven has always kind of made people. She's made comments about people that they didn't appreciate. Dewey, Sam Carpenter, Sydney's mom, and at the end of the day, at the end of those movies, she kind of, to Kevin's point, she's always there at the end and is coming to the defense of her friends and stuff like that. It's just, I guess we just didn't get to see that part in this movie because the attack in the apartment happened. But yeah, I mean, I guess if she didn't get attacked in the apartment, my guess is we would have seen Gail in that ending scene helping them out like she always does. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
Steven says, I thought the music score was off. The Dewey music sound played when they talked about him. It was a nice touch, but it felt like they forgot the real music tone of Ghostface chase scenes. Just off. I'll be honest, and this is just my opinion on it. I have never, ever liked the Scream scores. I think it's the area that the movies have lacked the most. They're not Halloween. They're not Friday the 13th. They're not even Elm Street. They lack something in the score department. Like, to me, the most recognizable Scream score is the Gale and Dewey theme, and it's probably
I like that, but
the most recognizable theme in a horror franchise. It's the one thing where I like, if you're comparing the two most recent horror movies that we've covered at length, which would be this and Halloween Ends, I would give this the advantage on everything over Halloween Ends, with the exception of score. The Halloween movies are just much, much better scored. Again, that's subjective, just my opinion. Fellas, any final thoughts on this movie? And what do you hope you get from 7?
Man, I don't want to think about 7 right now. Again, I'll as much as I love this movie, I'll go into 7 nervous. It's just the way that I am. Because I've seen, to me personally, just my feelings, I've seen them drop the ball and I've seen them produce something that I've really, really enjoyed. So I'll be nervous going into 7 and see what they do with it, and who's back and who's not back. But as far as this movie, again, I plan on seeing it again. But I don't see where I stand changing really at all. I really love this movie. I haven't put a Letterboxd score out yet because I'm going to see it one more time before I do, but it'll probably hover around that 3.5, most likely 4 stars for me. Like, I really enjoyed this movie, and I don't know how much of that plays into the fact of just how low my expectations were and how surprised I was with how much I enjoyed it. But I'll know more after kind of my second watch. But overall, man, I'm going to bed very, very happy. Like I got energy. Like I'll probably sit on my bed for a couple hours and scroll on my phone, even though I got to be at work in a few hours. Just looking at other people's reactions. I did a good job, me personally. And for everybody out there that were able to avoid spoilers, they were able to avoid reviews. It was hard. I did it for the most part. And I'm very happy that I did it because I felt like the reviews and expectations when I went into Scream 5 played a huge factor as well. So if you avoid spoilers, you had a good theater experience, and you loved the movie, I'm super, super happy for you. It's just good seeing Ghostface, a brutal Ghostface on the big screen.
Matt?
As far as 7 goes, don't rush it. I hope they don't start shooting for at least a
Oh, they're
year or
filming
so.
this. They're filming this year.
They most certainly are. And,
Yeah.
and from what I understand, it's not like it's going to be the very end of the year either. It sounds like it's going to be a little earlier than that. It sounds like they've made I'm pretty convinced they're going the route that I mentioned earlier, but we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I have a very good feeling this movie will be out by April
Next
of
summer?
next year. April of next year would be my guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can see that happening.
I mean, it fits the timeline. They did the same thing pretty much. So
No, I mean I knew they kind of did with this one. I mean, I'm right along with Mike. I'd probably give it a if I could give it a 3.75. That's where I'm probably sitting at, um, or 4. There's not enough bad things in this movie that's gonna sway me away. I'll probably also go ahead and see it again this weekend with a couple of friends.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, yeah, it's a good movie. Brutal Ghostface, gorier kills. Who you think it's going to be isn't who it's going to be most of the time in movies. I mean, I know Mike said he couldn't figure out who it was. It was a little bit harder for me this go around, and that's good because usually I'm fairly good at picking up. So go in and enjoy the theater experience for it and enjoy it like we did.
I thought Sam was fucking brilliant in this movie. It's one of my
so much better.
It's literally one of my favorite performances in the Scream franchise. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's really damn good. And they teased her becoming Ghostface so well. And then even her performance once she becomes Ghostface there at the end, sort of anyway. I thought was great. I will be let down. I know I shouldn't put these sort of expectations on the next one, but like to me, you gotta fully make that turn. Let's get her to where she needs to be because she's obviously ill. There's a reason she's seeing her dad. Allow that to take its toll on her. I think they have something good set up, regardless if they involve Stu or not. I hope that they see what they've been teasing through to the end.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree.
Question is, though, what did each and every one of you think of Scream 6? Did it live up to your expectations? Are you excited for 7? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to click that like button, hit subscribe, smash the notification bell, all that good shit. Mike, where can everybody find you at, man?
Did you kick Matt out?
No, I don't know where he went.
Oh.
Maybe he fell asleep randomly.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at @MichaelBish_. You can follow the Take One podcast on Instagram as well. We'll be doing a Scream panel next week, Wednesday, live on YouTube, and then Overlook Tuesday. We're doing Scream 6, right? Deeper dive.
Yeah, 5 and 6 actually, because
5 and 6. So make sure you tune in for that. It'll be good to be back on live. And it's going to be a good show. So make sure you subscribe.
I haven't seen Greg in a while. Hope all is well, man. He loved it. Glad you loved it, man. Can I just say, in a world that's filled with negativity and bullshit 95% of the time, it's been really nice the last 24 to 48 hours to see how many people are genuinely enthused by this movie.
Yeah.
It makes me happy because it's hard to find happiness in 2023. It is, trust me. And it's really cool to see a bunch of people spend their hard-earned money and leave a movie theater satisfied. And more importantly, to not see a studio completely lie and bullshit their way through a 6-month marketing campaign either. So that too. Yeah, I can't let it go, Mike. I'm sorry. To me, you don't lie during marketing. That's simple. These guys didn't. They delivered, and I'm curious to see the deleted scenes because I heard about a kill that was not in this movie, and if it was filmed, I'm going to be disappointed. Apparently, again, don't know how true it is, but apparently, we got the Jason in Manhattan kill where Ghostface throws someone off the top of a building, but maybe they thought that was too similar to the latter.
What was it? There was one. Oh, I thought there was one scene I thought he was gonna do that. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
I kind of thought Gale was going out the window, to be honest.
It might have been Gale. There was one that I really thought he was just gonna toss them off the building, but that would have been cool. Listen, man, real quick, Rotten Tomatoes, as far as critics, 79%, 1% off the highest one, which is the original. And right now, with 200 plus verified ratings from the fans, audience score, 95%. This movie is widely loved by the audience. That might be the highest audience score of all Scream movies so far. I have to double check that.
That's awesome, man. I love seeing people happy. I'm thrilled that the franchise is, cool. If I had to end this on one gripe, though, I wish a killer would have survived. I'd like to see a movie. I mean, I guess Sam survived and she wore it, but
that's the only one of my wants that didn't get done. When I said I wanted them to do something different, I said I would love to see a Ghostface. Being that there is going to be a 7, I would have loved to have seen one Ghostface get away and us not know the identity of that. But that didn't happen. Just didn't happen.
Muted the entire time. Greg said people hating on Kirby are tripping. She's not a teenager anymore, but still has her same Kirbiness to her. Honestly, Greg, for me, it wasn't so much the character as it was you could tell the actress has not acted very much lately, and the performance was not great. But I mean, it happens to the best of them. Carrie Fisher disappeared from Hollywood, and she was also in a Scream movie, by the way.
Yeah.
For a long time. And most people look at her performances in the new Star Wars movies before she had passed as not very good.
My favorite Kirby scene was her and Mindy going back and forth about horror movies. I thought that was really cool. I enjoy stuff like that.
Greg says, "What if there is a cult still and it wasn't revealed the family can join the cult?"
I mean, that's true, but let's be honest. Based off what we saw from the opening, there's a cult out there, 100%. 100% there's a cult out there. There's no denying that.
Yeah, you got teases for a cult. You got teases for Stu. You got teases for Sam, firmly going crazy.
Which is smart on their part. Gives them options.
It is. I really liked it. I don't know what happened to Matt. I hope he's okay. He just kind of vanished. So I'll have to check in with him. But thanks for everybody for coming out. We spent an hour on this. A lot of fun. I enjoyed the movie. Check out Take One with Mike. When's that coming out, dude?
I'm actually doing a live YouTube video for the first time on Wednesday.
Nice. Nice. What time?
8 p.m. I was like, let me go out here and be like Shawn.
Better than me, man. Better than me.
Oh, come on.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Fandom Empire. The support is appreciated. If you want to tune into more Scream-related content, horror-related content, Halloween stuff, check this channel out. We've got a lot more coming. For Mike, I'm Shawn. We'll see you next time. What's your favorite scary movie?